Hi, I'm Rod Stone from Stone Accounting and Business Advisory. Today I've got Mr. Simon Fraser with us, who's the Executive Officer of OzCham. Simon's going to spend a bit of time with us. We're going to learn a little bit about your journey to Vietnam and how you came to be in the position of Executive Officer, and also find out a lot about OzCham, hopefully, so our listeners can learn a lot more about how OzCham might be able to help them. So Simon, you've been here for a bit over 14 years now. I'd love to hear a bit more about your journey. I know a little bit about it, but you can fill in some gaps, and how you got to the position of Executive Officer of OzCham, which you've been in for about 2.5 years. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Fill us in, Simon.
Okay.
What's your journey like?
So I arrived almost 15 years ago now into Ho Chi Minh City, and that was based on a job which I was offered by News Corp. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people wouldn't think that News Corp were ever in Vietnam, but we were actually here for about 2 years. The reason I ended up here was, I guess, because I'd worked for News Corp previously some time before that, and I'd always stayed in touch with the senior management around Asia. And when they decided to make a foray into Vietnam at that time, which is a bit of a hotspot for investing, they asked me to come here and be the operations manager for the country. And from there, I was expected to move over to Singapore and then take on a regional role. But since then, there have been many changes in my life over the past 15 years living in Vietnam, but there's always been opportunities. Yeah. And I think that probably about 2.5 years ago, after having a global role with another company, I was just to the point where I was just burnt out. Yeah. And by chance, I saw that OzCham were looking for a executive director. Yep. And I applied for the role, and I knew most of the people, if not all the members, and I was successful. So basically, what was going to be possibly a move to another country, yep, or even another job turned into a job with the Australian Chamber of Commerce. Sure. And that's been the case for 2.5, nearly 3 years, and it's probably going to just keep rolling on. Yeah,
well, I reckon that's about when we met too, Simon, when you became the Executive Director of OzCham, around about that time. One thing that over that time, I've spent a lot more time with OzCham. I've been here for quite a few years, but never really got too close to OzCham. But since I've got to know yourself and getting closer to OzCham, going to the social events, attending more of the events and getting involved with the organisation, I've found it extremely useful. And we've talked previously about the importance of OzCham to our clients. We're an accounting firm, we have clients wanting to come over here, and it's critical for them to get in touch with OzCham. Can you give the listeners a bit of an idea of why it's really important, not just for businesses, but also for individuals, to contact OzCham, and what can OzCham do for Australians wanting to come over to Vietnam?
Yeah, sure. So I think originally OzCham was started 23 years ago, and we're a business chamber. But I think probably over the past 2 years, you would have seen that we're a lot more community focused, especially during a time of COVID-19. But that doesn't distract from the fact that we are a business chamber. We've just added more community to what we do. So basically, for a lot of people who are looking to come to Vietnam, we probably sit between the advisory services who are already established here, and also we sit between them and also Austrade. So Austrade are probably the as a part of the government, they're doing the biggest trades, or the biggest corporates that are coming into the country. They're working with them directly with the government. A lot of other people, as I said, like to use advisory services. Maybe they're already using one of the big four, or maybe a big law firm,
or a small accounting firm,
or like ours, like yours from Australia. But I guess for us, we sit between the two bodies. And we probably take into account a lot of big corporates as well, but those corporates that have a regional presence, but they don't really want to, open up a fully invested company here. They're probably just looking for a representative company. And then there's a lot of SMEs, SMEs that have moved from Vietnam into Vietnam, who've previously been in China, or the companies in Australia which now have the impetus to make that move. So we deal with a lot of those as well.
So it's Like when you say you can refer some of the contacts that you have coming to OzCham to other advisory firms and things like that, that comes down to the networking.
Correct.
You know, when I first arrived in Vietnam permanently, I took up a 3-year contract with another organisation, and on my first day in the job, a gentleman in your position many years before you, Mr. Phil Johns, contacted me on the phone. He came out to see me the next day, and he basically just said welcome. And I was only an individual at that stage, so he just welcomed me, let me know that there's other Australians here. And I'd been coming for quite a few years before that, but I never really established a friendship base or a network of business associates. And he just let me know that we're here. But, you know, OzCham's here if you need us. And I thought that was really nice. I haven't forgotten that gesture. But the networking side of OzCham, which I've learned to appreciate a lot more in the last few years, is extremely important for businesses. You know, as we've talked before, you know, we've got clients that are wanting to that are already here in Vietnam, got plans to move here, or they're thinking about maybe moving over here. There's very good reasons why those clients and others should contact OzCham purely for the networking side of things, but also you can point them in the right direction and prevent them from making some mistakes that maybe they might make if they didn't have those connections. Can you elaborate a bit more on that?
Sure. I think that over the past 23 years that we've been established in Vietnam, obviously we have a huge network, and obviously when new consulates or new ambassadors come into the country, we have access to them as well. So we have a very close relationship with the Australian government here. Mm-hmm. Likewise, we also have a very strong relationship with the Vietnam government, and that's through the Vietnam Business Forum, which we're a member of as well, one of the original members of the VBF. And also the VCCI, so that's the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So the chairman of the VCCI sits on the National Assembly, so you can't get more direct than that. And we have very established networks and relationships through government, which adds value to our members. And internally, members add value to other members because they come with different skills, and they come from different industries as well. Yeah.
Do you find that most individuals and businesses that do contact OzCham become members, attend the events, and sort of become a part of the OzCham family?
Yeah, that's a good question, because sometimes you have people that may come to event after event after event, and they'll never join, but they certainly take away some benefit, and we probably have some benefit in getting to know them, and they become a part of our network anyway. So, people don't necessarily have to become members or sponsors, and we're very happy with the sponsors that we have at the moment as well, especially during these times. But not necessarily. I mean, some people just come and they support, but I think at the end of the day, that just increases the size of our network, and that's a benefit to everyone.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot of online events that we've had to do over the last couple of years, and they've been great as well. Just keeping everyone connected. I know that OzCham played a bit of a role in helping us Australians over here get vaccines and things like that, which we really appreciated. I see it as a family. I'm a member, and and it's great to get to know all the people in OzCham. At the moment, you've got a board of directors that consists of some of Australia's leading business people here in Vietnam. They're elite people in their roles, and the knowledge and experience that board's got. What's it like to have that board behind you, or work with them on a day-to-day basis, and I guess the spread that their networks bring to OzCham and to yourself?
On a day-to-day basis, my relationship is really with the president of OzCham, and also the board of directors. So we normally would speak most days, but these days, seeing that a lot of our board members are actually out of country or moving around now that some of the restrictions have been lifted, it's a little bit hard to connect with them. But I have to say that in the past 9 months since the new board has been elected, you've seen it. I've seen it. I think a lot of members have seen it, and also partners in government have seen the increase in the professionalism that the board and both the board and OzCham have been run, and I think that's been acknowledged by a lot of our members, like you mentioned before, through the vaccinations, and that's the advocacy work that we've done with both governments to get to that point. But also in 2022, I think that we're going to see a lot of growth, and the way that we've set up OzCham for growth over the next 5 years will probably be a lot more recognisable in 2022, and I think that, hopefully people will see that and acknowledge it as well. But it's, to work with the group of people I'm working with now, it's very professional, and it gives me a lot of pleasure because, we're all peers, and it's good working in that sort of relationship.
Yeah, and that's credit to Simon Pugh and his board, who've done a wonderful job in the last, how long have they been?
About 9 months.
About 9 months, yeah, particularly over the back end of COVID. So,
yeah.
So Simon, you mentioned early on that the prosperity of Vietnam, all those years ago when you first came to Vietnam, was something that you noticed. Certainly over the last 30 years here in Vietnam, we've been on a trajectory that's been fairly steep. For an accountant like me, the numbers, that was certainly one of the attractions to move to Vietnam, the numbers around GDP, interest rates, inflation, those types of things. There were numbers that I hadn't seen since I was a kid 40 years ago in Australia, when interest rates and GDP and inflation was up around those crazy rates. So the prosperity of Vietnam is exciting for me to come here. Obviously, you've mentioned it. I think a lot of other colleagues of ours are here for the same reason. Vietnam's a country of opportunity. It's a country that you can come here and prosper. We're on that upward curve. We don't know how long that's going to last for. So I just wanted to ask you, where do you see, or what do you see happening from a macroeconomic point of view here in Vietnam over the next 5 years?
Wow.
Without making a prediction that people are going to hang their hat on and come back at you with.
Well, it's interesting from an Australian's point of view, is that, look, I don't think a lot of people in Vietnam realise what's probably going to happen in 2022. The amount of investment that's been promised, it's, from the government and also from private enterprise for 2022. Once it starts rolling, you'll see a big change in, the influence from Australia on business, and also the future of this country. I mean, in 2019, Scott Morrison met with Nguyen Phuc here in Hanoi, and he said at a dinner hosted by OzCham, said that he wants, Australia and Vietnam to become top 10 trading partners. And that is the focus of the government and also of OzCham. Everything we do is focused around advocating for that to happen. So, to move the barometer, move the needle, it'll happen very slowly. And that's probably, they predicted probably over a 10-year period to move from where we are currently at 13 down to 10. But we've already seen some incremental changes already, where we're not actually sitting at 13, it's getting closer to the 10 mark. So if we can improve on that, I think that'll be good within the next 5 years, and I think it's achievable to become a top 10 trading partner with Vietnam. We're certainly doing all the right things, regardless of where you sit politically. I think that Australia is doing all the right things so far as it goes in the region here, and especially with Vietnam. And I hopefully that 2022 will probably set the benchmark for what's going to happen over the next 5 years. I think it's going to be very prosperous, and I think it'll be more engaging for Australian businesses wanting to move into Vietnam as well. And I think that really, most of the change will be led by the Vietnam government. But there's no reason why Australian business can't be involved in that as well. And that's how being involved with OzCham and also VBF and BCCI as we are will make a change. Yeah, it's
critically important. Thanks for your insights on that, Simon. I've also got a positive outlook for Vietnam. How far into the future? I'm conscious that things go in cycles. This has been a 30-year rise, but certainly for the next 5 to 10 years, it's hard to predict anything else but prosperity here in Vietnam. So, it's nice to hear your thoughts on that. Simon, for people who want to get in contact with OzCham to finish off, what's the best way to make that? Is that through yourself or through Facebook or through your team? How do they get in contact with OzCham?
It's I think that a lot of people always think that I go for the hard sell, and there is a hard sell. The hard sell is a membership.
Yep.
And that's the only way that we survive. We're only as strong as our members. So when we have great members paying a membership fee, we're stronger. We're able to do many more things. So, if people think that I'm, going to have a conversation, shake the hand and say, well, you should join as a member, here's a form to fill out and send me the money. I prefer to sort of get people on a social setting, and then that demonstrates exactly the sort of taste or what you could expect. And that's not always a networking event like Sundowners, but we do have briefing events which are a little bit more formal, held at lunches and breakfasts. And we advertise these through the website. So you'll probably see a lot of action, a lot of movement on the website. Likewise on on our Facebook and social media. And I think we were talking before about Instagram. We do have an Instagram account as well as LinkedIn, very prosperous on LinkedIn as well. So you can't avoid us. We're there. We also co-host a lot of events with other chambers in Vietnam. So if the BritCham or CanCham or somebody else is having an event, we're usually co-hosting and we're promoting their events, and they likewise do the same for us. But apart from that, we have a lot of social events. So at any time you can make contact quite easily with us. But I do tend to take quite a few inquiries through Facebook, and Facebook's a real animal sometimes because I'm not sure who really knows how to control it, but most of the time it's always on a social setting, and I'll always follow up.
Yeah, well, the value that we're members, our business, and the value we get, it is very much worth it. And we're at a point now that when we help a lot of businesses come into Vietnam, and if they're coming from Australia to Vietnam, we sort of say that's one of the first things you've got to do is contact OzCham. Become a member if possible, and come along to some of those social activities, mainly to get that network and build that network here as quickly as possible, and avoid a lot of the pitfalls that people might find if they don't have those that guidance from good people around them. Simon, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it. Really interesting to hear about your thoughts and your journey, and I hope our listeners have learned a little bit more about OzCham and how they might be able to get involved and get in contact with you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Rod.
Cheers.
Good to talk to you.
Likewise.
Thank you.